My name is Stefania Vicari and I'm a senior lecturer in digital sociology in the Department of Sociological Studies of the University of Sheffield. I'm also the program leader for the MA in Digital Media and Society, and I'm here today with Laura Towers, PhD student in the department, and with Kate Weiner, the postgraduate admission tutor for the department. So today, during the webinar, we're going to, let me just progress with the presentation, which is not. Let me just. Let me just go back to the beginning. Okay, here we are. So today we're going to talk about what you will be studying on the MA Digital Media and Society. So what kind of topics, issues, debate we cover in the course. We will discuss ways of teaching and the type of assessment that we use in the master. I will try to give you an idea of the department where the master is delivered and the University of Sheffield in general. And then you will get a student's perspective on life as a student in the department and in Sheffield. And then you will get some detailed information about how to apply for the master. Okay. So, the master, broadly speaking, focuses on the relationship between digital media developments and society. So we really look at social processes as affected or shaped by digital media and their uses. So we focus on analysis of digital media developments in relation to a wide range of social issues. For instance, we focus on how the way in which we share personal data on different social media platforms has implications for privacy, for our life in relationship to with other people around us, and for the way in which we introduce ourselves to others and we build relationships with others. So there are three core elements in the course. The first one is around these digital society issues, so the main issues we can discuss in relation to digital media use and its digital media embedding in everyday life. Then there is a second part, a second element that is more practical, and it's based on the production of digital media content on different platforms. And then there is a third element in the course, which is around methods. So you will be trained in traditional methods for the social sciences, like qualitative research methods and statistical methods. And then we have a more innovative approach to research, which is based on the use of digital media methods, so-called digital methods, that looks at how you can focus on data that are online, scrape this data from social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook, and then conduct different types of analysis to get an insight of what happens on social media platforms and how data are shared, produced and shared by users of these platforms. So these are the three main themes, the three main elements of the course. All right, so you have a range of core modules, so mandatory modules in the master, and these are 5 modules. So the first one is Research in Digital Society. This runs in the first semester, and it's an introduction to these main issues that we will look at through the course of the master. So for instance, in the first part of the module, we focus on issues like the digital divide or digital inequalities across different contexts, both at the national level but also in the global dimension. We focus on the concept of internet freedom, and we try to analyze what it means and what kind of issues we can find when we talk about internet freedom, again, in different contexts and in different realities. We focus on concepts like producage and participatory cultures, or how citizens are now have the potential to get involved more in the production of news, for instance, via digital journalism, or the production of knowledge around different issues like science or health. In the second part of the module, we focus on different themes and topics that are particularly relevant when we think of digital media use. So we look at the emergence of digital identities, how we build relationships on online platforms, and how this has an impact on our so-called offline traditional relationships as well. How we use different apps, for instance, to monitor our health and to keep track of our personal data. How journalism is impacted by digital media use today, how journalists, but also ordinary citizens, use social media to produce news content. And obviously we also need to discuss issues related to the production of fake news and trolling on social media platforms. These are some of the topics that we look at in this introductory module that, as I said, is in semester 1. Then you have another core module, which is Social Media, Data and Society, that is slightly more advanced in its content and more specific, because it focuses exactly on the production of data on social media platforms and how this data is used by ordinary citizens, but also used by third parties for different kind of purposes. So we introduce the concept of datafication as well, and we try to analyze the implications of these processes for everyday life of individuals and groups in our society. The third core module is actually gives you the opportunity to choose between qualitative research methods or quantitative or statistical methods. So basically you will be given the option to choose whether you want to get a better understanding of ways to analyze social problems via conducting interviews or focus groups, which are qualitative ways of investigation, or rather via using statistical methods like developing survey research and then analyzing quantitative data. A fourth core module is again around methods, but as I said, is more, in a way, is more innovative or kind of newer, because it's called digital methods and focuses on online data. So how we can look at all this data that is produced and shared on social media platforms, how we can try to scrape this data, which means extract this data from these social media platforms and then analyze them and make sense of what happens on these platforms in different ways. This implies a mixture of qualitative and quantitative techniques and the use of different tools. So this module is kind of very hands-on, because we try different tools, free access to analyze this, to scrape and analyze online data. And again, it runs in the first semester, so it gives you an introduction to this kind of new and innovative research methods. We then have a very practical module, which is called Digital Practices. This comes in semester 2, and it's the only very practice-based module. This is delivered by a practitioner in digital media production, and you will be trained in web design and photo editing. And also the assignment for this module is the production, a digital media production. So this is going to give you basic skills, training and understanding on how digital media content is produced. And then the last core element of the master is your dissertation. So in semester 1, you will be given an introduction to what the dissertation is and how the dissertation project can be developed. and you will be introduced to the three options that you have for your dissertation project. So you can either run a traditional research project where you use either traditional methods of investigation or digital methods, or a combination of the two to analyze a specific social problem. Or you could develop an internship-based dissertation, and we are supported by the University Career Services to help you develop your CV, to help you find a possible placement, and then develop your research project around this placement. The third option for your dissertation is based on production and practice again, so on the basis of the skills that you have developed in the digital practices module and on skills that you may already have before starting the master, you will be able to develop a project around a production of digital content. So you may have an idea for the design of a specific website that would address a specific social problem. So you would use this practice to again address a social problem, but in a way that is more practical or practice-based. So these are the core modules in the master. And then you have the opportunity to choose 3 option modules, 1 in the first semester and 2 in the second semester. As you can see in the list of modules on this slide, you have 3 different types of option modules you can choose from. The first block of modules is very much around digital media and digital society, so there are still specific modules on digital society issues. The first one, digital identities, is entirely focused on the emergence of different types of digital identities on contemporary social media platforms. So what kind of implications we have for the building up of different types of relationships online, and what kind of identities we try to build and we end up building on social media platforms. The second one, researching social media, is basically an advanced version of digital methods. So it's delivered by a colleague from the school, the information school at the University of Sheffield, and it provides an advanced understanding and knowledge and actually practical skills on how to analyze online data. So basically in semester 1 you take digital methods and you learn the basics of how to analyze online data, and then if you want you can take this advanced version of digital methods where you get to know more techniques on how to analyze this type of data. Then you have digital advocacy that is focused on the use of digital media in contemporary forms of activism and advocacy. So it focuses on different social protests, on different protest movements that have been using or are using at the moment digital media to engage publics and to mobilize around different issues in different contexts. So we may think of the Arab Spring, if we think of a specific event that happened just a few years ago, or more contemporary campaigns, again in different contexts. The fourth option module is digital health, and it focuses very much on the use of different uses of digital media to learn about health, to produce knowledge about health, and to share information about health, and how different stakeholders like patients, but health professionals, and other actors may contribute to knowledge production and sharing via different types of digital media. So this module also focuses on the so-called quantified movement, or again the use of different apps and devices to track personal data that have to do with health. The second block of possible optional modules that you can choose from are more sociological oriented. As you know, this master runs in a Department of Sociological Studies, so you also get the opportunity to get to know more of sociological theories that can be relevant to the analysis of digital society issues. So one of these option modules is visual methods. So again, it's a different strand of research methods that can be used to analyze visual content. Then you have intimacy and personal relationships that provides you with further theoretical views on how to analyze contemporary personal relationships. Then sociology of culture and identity, which is very much focused on the relationship between different cultural contexts and the emergence of different types of identities for different groups, social groups. And the fourth one is the sociology of surveillance. So again, this focuses on a theory around surveillance, and it is very relevant if you're interested in notions like cyber surveillance, censorships, and systems of control in different contexts and different countries. The third block of possible options, it comes from other departments in the faculty. So as you see, the first one is on food security and food justice, and is delivered by a colleague from geography, the Department of Geography. Then we have information governance and ethics, delivered by a colleague from the information school again, and it focuses very much on ethical issues that are related to different new systems of information and governance in the media system. Then you have two modules delivered by the School of East Asian Studies. One is Media, Culture and Society in East Asia, so it's very much focused on the media system and the cultural dynamics in East Asian countries. And the last one is Media, State and Society in China, focused more specifically on China and how the media system and the media ecology in China is in a way related to the state control or state systems, and how this may have implication on for societal issues. Okay, so you must know that option modules, this list of option modules is what we have at the moment, but this list may slightly change depending on the life of academics, or mainly when we have research leave or sabbatical periods and then we are not teaching. So this list may slightly change, but this is the list of option modules that we are expecting to have for next year. Something that you need to know is that we are very active as scholars interested in digital media and digital society issues, and we have links and networks with other scholars across the whole Faculty of Social Sciences. And in particular, there is a network called Digital Society Network that brings together scholars from across the faculty, so from different departments, to discuss digital society issues and to organize events where master students are invited to participate. So we have, every year we have speakers, external speakers who come to introduce their research, and master students are always invited to participate because these are usually events of global interest. So it's very important for us to introduce you to research that we do and research that is done by key scholars in the area of digital society. So there is a range of activities and events that you will be able to participate in. So more specifically, in terms of the type of teaching that we do and how we deliver our modules, we have again a range of different types of ways of teaching. So there are traditional lectures. They usually come together with seminars, so lectures are delivered to bigger groups, and then we have seminars with smaller groups of students where we give you, where you have the opportunity to interact more in groups or with us to discuss specific issues covered during the lectures. Certain modules require more workshop types of teaching. So, for instance, in our digital methods module, you have weekly 2-hour workshops where you can use the different tools that we discuss during the lecture. And again, you are in smaller groups, so you have an opportunity to ask, raise questions and talk with your colleagues and with the module leader to address any issues that you may face, for instance, in the use of software to analyze specific data. We have tutorials, so one-to-one tutorial where you can talk to your module leader or your seminar leader to discuss any issue that you may have with content or assessment. Small group work, again, tasks where you have to engage with problem solving. So this is an important skill that you will develop in the course of the master. And then, of course, you need to spend some time on your own in the library or wherever you want to develop your independent learning. It's very important for us that you also grow as an independent learner and possibly an independent researcher if you also think about a possible future in research, so academic research or private research centers. So it's very important for us that you also develop this side of the curriculum. In terms of assessment, given the nature of the master and the different elements that we have in the master, so the theoretical side of it, the methodological side of research, and the practical side of the master as well, we have different types and ways of assessment. So there is the traditional coursework with essays, portfolio work where you have to deliver different small pieces of assignments, and then critical reviews. But we also have practical work, like in the digital practices module, where you have to produce different types of content, like the website production that comes with that module, or the work that comes with digital methods modules. We also use blog posts as a way of assessing your understanding of theoretical issues and also digital, more general digital society issues, presentations, and obviously in the end you also have the dissertation project, which is a very long one. It starts more informally in the first semester, and then it gets going, really going in the second semester. In terms of career prospects, students are usually very interested to know what is going to happen after the master and what kind of opportunities they may have after taking the master. Well, if you think about it and you look at statistics and figures, you see that there is an increasing number of digital media jobs across different sectors. So both in the public and the private sectors, you will see that more and more candidates with digital media knowledge are required. These may happen in charity organizations, for instance, where social media production is a very important element, and practical knowledge is also an important issue, but also in the public sector, more in general, these figures are becoming extremely relevant. In terms of research, you may also, you are trained in a way to be able to progress with postgraduate research with a PhD, or also with research outside of academia, as I said earlier, because you're trained on both theoretical sides, on both theoretical knowledge and also methodological ones. So you're able to develop empirical projects that may be a starting point for postgraduate research. Finally, let me say something about the University of Sheffield in general and then the department more specifically. So you may know that we are part of the Russell Group, which means that we are part of a group of universities that are internationally recognized for their research outputs. So other universities in the Russell Group are, for instance, Oxford, Cambridge, Edinburgh, the London School of Economics. And in fact, we are a leading university and we are ranked in the World Top 100 in one of the last rankings of the QS World Rankings. We are also in the top 10% of UK universities for research excellence. So coming to us, you're not just coming to take a master degree, so to learn from our teaching, but we are very happy to also use our research as part of our teaching and to talk to you about what we're doing and what we are researching and what type of issues we think are very important and should be researched today. So looking at the department in specific terms, we have 4 main research areas that we develop. One is obviously the digital society one. Then we have sociology more in general as a core research area. Social policy and social work. So these are the 4 souls of the department, and you will get the chance to actually touch upon all of them by choosing different option modules, both in the first semester and in the second semester. So in the last national assessment that happened in 2014 in the UK, 79% of our research was judged to be internationally excellent or world-leading. So again, this highlights how research is important for us as a department and for us as both teachers and researchers, obviously. So more specific research interests are around digital society issues, of course, but also gender, science and technology in society, children and families, crime and social control, and for instance you get a taste of it in the sociology of surveillance module, option modules that you can choose, migration and aging. So you see that the department has a very varied kind of research background, and you will get the chance to try and get to know more about different research areas. And then now I'm going to pass the floor to Laura Towers, who is a PhD student in the department. So, well, bye for now. And if you have any questions, you can write to us on the chat at the end of the whole presentation. Okay.
Hi there. So, as Stefania just said, my name is Laura Towers. I moved to Sheffield about 10 years ago to do my undergraduate study. And then I stayed on to do a master's, and now I'm in the 3rd year of my PhD. So I'm going to talk to you today about what it's like to be a student in the department, but also what it's like to be here in Sheffield. And if you've got any questions about any of that at the end, then I'm more than happy to talk to you about that. So in terms of being a student and at the University in Sheffield in more general terms, it's an amazing place to move to, and it has one of the highest retention rates of students staying somewhere after they've been to study, which shows what an amazing city it actually is. So just looking at the photographs then, the one on the top left is a picture of the city centre. So in terms of things to do, places to see, there's loads of different cafes and restaurants. It's got an amazing theatre. It's really well known for having 2 famous theatres that you can go and attend to, so if you're interested in that. It hosts the snooker championship every year as well. There's all sorts of different kind of galleries, museums, libraries. So there really is a lot to do within the city during your time as a student. In the top right-hand corner, that's a picture of the Peak District. So we're really lucky that we've got the amazing scenery of the Peak District only about half an hour away from the city. So if you're interested in walking or rock climbing, there's some really lovely places to go and visit, little villages. There's also some really nice places to go and eat as well. So it's really nice to have that balance between city life and culture, but also then being so close to greenery and kind of fresh air as well. So the bottom 2 pictures, they're actually the university itself. So if I take the bottom left-hand picture, that is the Students' Union. So Sheffield Students' Union has been voted #1 in the country in the Times Higher Educational Supplement for, I think it's like the last 4 or 5 years. So it really is an amazing Students' Union. There's lots to do there, lots of support you can get there with things like housing, counselling, support just generally with being a student. There's also lots of things to get involved with, so they've got student societies, lots of sporting activities, really big variety of societies, from like the chess club to sporting ones to political activist groups. So there really is something for everyone to get involved with. And then finally, in the bottom right hand corner, that's a picture of inside one of the libraries. So we're really looking at, there's lots of different places that we can go and study. The libraries are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including over the holidays. So if you need to catch up with your work, or you just need somewhere quiet to go and study, then we're really looking at, there's lots of different locations that you can go to, and all of which have got different spaces in there. So if you need to do group work or silent study, then there's the facilities for that. Lots of them contain computers as well, and cafes, so if you want a break with your studies, you can go and catch up with your friends as well. So in terms of then being a student in the department itself, within the department, we're really lucky that there's an ICT suite as well, so if rather than walking down to one of the libraries, you can just go into the department, and there's a printer in there as well, so you can access that. There's also the student common room, which is just like a social space. If you've got a break in between lectures or seminars, you can go there, catch up on work, or just hang out with your friends. The seminar rooms themselves are really nice spaces to study in, so they're all modern, light and bright, so it's a nice place to actually take part in the kind of academic environment. And it's really well located as well, so it's centrally on campus. You're only about half an hour away from the train station. You're really close to then bus links and trams. So transport around the city and the university itself is really easy and straightforward. In terms of personal support in the department, genuinely it's a really supportive, lovely department to be part of. There's a really helpful admin team who will support you with any issues that you might come up against in terms of personal support, but also any issues to do with submitting essays, the more kind of technical aspects of doing your studies. The academics as well as being really nice, all really supportive. They're really knowledgeable, they really are the tops in their fields, and the teaching that they do is supported by the research. So you know that the teaching you're receiving really is leading in the field, which is amazing. Also, you can get involved if you're interested in student representation. So if you want to represent your course on staff student committees, there are the opportunities to do that as well. So if you start here, then you can get involved with that and kind of have more of a say with the way that maybe your course is delivered or aspects of it. And then finally, in terms of when you do come to do your dissertation, you'll be assigned an individual dissertation supervisor who will support you and guide you through the process. It can be quite daunting to have to do this bigger piece of work, but again, you'll be really supported in that process and helped along with it. So finally, I just wanted to finish with this photograph. I am that tiny little face that's poking over the top because I'm not very tall. But I think this really sums up my experience of being a student in the department. So this is from when I did my master's, and as you can see, it's a really diverse group of people. People were from China, Taiwan, Iraq, Norway, Ireland. So it was really lovely to be able to actually meet such a diverse range of people and learn about them and their cultures, and all study together. So as well as the kind of academic side of it, there is that social side of it as well, and kind of learning from other people. And I think that kind of just is best represented in this photograph. So I'm going to pass you over now to Kate Weiner. But if there are any questions, if you want to ask me anything at the end, then I will still be here, and you're more than welcome to ask me anything you want.
Thanks, Laura. Hi everyone, my name's Kate Weiner and I'm a lecturer in sociology, and I'm also the postgraduate admissions tutor. Thanks. So I'm going to actually talk through how you would apply for the programme. So firstly, the entry requirements. So the minimum requirement is a 2-1 undergraduate degree or an equivalent. This needs to be in a relevant social science discipline. That could be, for example, sociology, or perhaps media and communication studies. And we're also interested in people who have some arts and humanities degrees, so for example, maybe cultural studies or design degrees. But we'd also encourage people to apply who have equivalent work experience. So for example, if you've worked in digital media production, we'd be interested to hear from you. In terms of English language, our requirements are an IELTS with an overall score of 6.5 with no less than 6 in each component. And there are alternative English language qualifications, and I'd suggest that you look at the link on the slide which gives details of those alternatives. If you're an international applicant, and you don't meet the entry requirements for the postgraduate masters, you could still be considered for one of our pre-masters programs with the Sheffield International College. The college offers flexible pre-masters pathway programs in the social sciences that are specifically designed to prepare international students for admission to our postgraduate taught master's degrees. If you have any queries or questions about the entry requirements, please do get in touch with us, and we can discuss that with you, and we'll give you an email at the end of the presentation which will be the best way to contact us. Again, if you're an international applicant, you might like to find out about what funding options are available to you, and you can find this out by following the link at the bottom of the slide, and then you would need to select your own country. Okay, so in terms of how do you go about applying for the course, all applications are made online, and that can be done through the link on the slide, the first bullet point. So once we get your application, a record is made for you, and you can log on and check the progress of your application then at any time. So as part of the application, you need to provide evidence of your previous qualifications. So that means uploading copies of certificates and transcripts. And you can also provide information about your past work experience. We also require you to provide a personal statement about why you want to study for this programme. And that's particularly important if you don't have a standard route into the programme. So if you don't have a standard degree, we'd want specifically to know why you're applying. We'd also need evidence about appropriate English language qualifications if you need them. And we also would ask you to provide 2 academic references as part of the application. You should be aware that decisions can take up to 4 weeks to process. So what happens next? So once the application has been processed, we'll send out a letter with an offer if we're going to make an offer. And the offer can be unconditional or conditional. And those conditions could be to do with obtaining appropriate English language qualifications. So I'm just going to finish by saying if you'd like any more information, the best way to contact us is through this email on this slide. And I think